Welcome back to another episode of the Dark Side of MMA. I'm your host, the Fight Analyst. With me, as always, is my man, UFC lightweight John Makdessi. What's up, man? How's it going?
Not much, man. Nice, beautiful day in Arizona for after the holidays.
Oh, nice, nice. I mean, here it's a little rainy in that, but how was your holidays? How did everything go?
Oh, it was good, man. Went to a nice restaurant, spent some time with friends. You have to also keep in mind I'm from Montreal, Canada, so a lot of snow. So it's a lot different for me for the Christmas without any snow.
Would you rather have snow? Do you like shoveling? Do you like de-icing
Yeah,
your car, or would you like the nice weather in Arizona? Because me personally, I'm coming from New York. I now live in Florida. Definitely not big on snow and ice, so I'm chilling. I'm good with all of that. But what is your take on it?
no, I agree with you for sure. I mean, no, I definitely was born. I was raised in the snow. Obviously, it's just weird without having a Christmas without snow, like a snowfall, and it's all the whole thing with comes with Christmas, right? Snow. I feel like
Right.
snow comes with Christmas, but being in December, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not complaining. I rather wake up to a sunny day than some rainfall versus a snowstorm.
That's true. That's true. I'm cool with no snow, but like you said, I'm definitely used to the snowfall as well. Being from New York, we get snow all the time up there. Surprisingly, there was no snow this year up there, but neither here nor there. Let's keep it moving. There was not much going on last week in terms of MMA world, but there were some great fights in boxing. Did you happen to catch any of that over the last weekend?
The Jake Paul,
No, the it was
which one you talking about?
the Day of Awakening. It was called in Saudi Arabia. It
Oh, I
was
did not hear
the
about that.
headline. Yeah, it was Anthony Joshua taking on Aldo Wallen. Deontay Wilder was
Oh
upset
yes, yes, yes. What
by.
is that? Was that? It was funny because they made a big scheme. They made a big skit because of Conor McGregor was sitting with
Yes, yeah,
Cristiano Ronaldo, and they made a whole thing because he looked annoyed of him. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's
No,
true.
I mean,
Wilder. Yes,
yeah. Did you get to watch the Wilder and,
I,
and Parker fight?
I did not watch actually. I wasn't. I did not. I wasn't aware of that. That was in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is trying to do big things in combat sports. I think the UFC is actually going there next year. I'm sure that's going to be a big spectacle in its own right. I don't know when the date is. I think it's like March or April sometime. But yeah, I mean, Saudi Arabia is trying to get into the big game. They're doing big things, and they'll be doing big things in boxing next year too. I think PFL, I think is starting might have an event out there too sometime next year. So they're really getting into the game, and it's gonna be interesting because they got a lot of money. So
I would love to get part of, be participant, get into that Saudi Arabia market. Since
that,
I'm also Lebanese Arabic descendant, so I mean, why not?
yeah, you'd fit right in. You have a great fan base over there. I mean, it's interesting because like I said, they got a lot of money, so they're throwing a lot of money out there. They're already they're
Yes.
already in talks with Francis Ngannou fighting back there again against Tyson Fury at some point. Then you got Anthony Joshua. They were gonna fight, Deontay Wilder before he lost to Joseph Parker, but we'll see what happens next year. But yeah, I mean, with this episode, we really don't got much, recapping or things to look forward to, but at least we want to kind of talk about our year end 2023 awards. For best male fighter, best female fighter, submission of the year, knockout of the year, so on and so forth. So let's kick it off, right? We're going to start with our male 2023 fighter of the year. I'll let you take the reins and start us off. Who's your 2023 male fighter of the year?
I was, there's a whole list of good fighters. I mean, obviously, it's always hard to choose. I mean, this is also my first time doing something like this, which is very exciting. So I took some time, did some research, and the reason why I chose this guy in particular, just because of He has such a weird style. I would never expect him in a million years to become a world champion. And he there was a big upset. He was a big underdog in the Australia card. Of course, my selection for fighter of the year male would be Sean Strickland.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get it. I really do get it. I mean, you're talking about massive underdog, came in on short notice in Australia, beat one of their own in Israel Adesanya. Almost finished him, might I add. Dropped him early. Almost got him out of there.
Yeah,
You know.
I was shocked. I would never expect
Oh,
that.
oh yeah. So I was the same way. And then not only that, he absolutely dominated him in every round.
Well, I just don't. I mean, it's hard for me to say word domination. My opinion, my belief is more Izzy didn't show up. He was there physically, but mentally and spiritually. Because here's the thing: fighting it's not just a physical thing; it's a mental and it's a spiritual. All those three have to be aligned. You know what I mean? And I just think physically he showed up for the. It was his job. It's like going to the office. That's the thing about fighting. That day you wake up and you don't want to fight. Guess what? That's gonna be a bad night for you. If you wake up that day and you're like, oh, I'm not feeling it, that's gonna be a bad day. People go to work. You're not always gonna show up to the office, but you got to go in there, right? So I just think Izzy did not show up. He just kind of like was backpedaling, and but in the same time, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Sean Strickland. He gave it to him. He kept on walking forward. He kept on being in his face with that weird that weird style where it's like it's too bad that Izzy is not a wrestler because it would have been easy takedowns for him just going in for a double.
Yeah, it was an interesting fight, and Sean Strickland, now the champ, doesn't even have to go and defend it against Izzy. He gets to go and defend it against Strictly Duplessis. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be actually in Toronto at UFC 297, less than a month away. Looking forward to that.
Nice.
All right, so my fighter of the year, I gotta go with Islam Makhachev. I
Yes.
think I know he doesn't have some big underdog win, right? But he went against the number one pound for pound fighter in Alexander Volkanovski. Beat him in a very close fight. Could have gone either way. I personally had Islam winning that first encounter, and then goes out there and knocks him out in the second fight. Granted, Volk short notice may have not have been in the best shape coming into that fight, but either way, he's the only person to finish Volkanovski, and I think that's a great feat in its own right. So 2 title defenses. He's now won 13 in a row or something along the lines of that, like 10 plus fights in a row. He's been a dominant champion in 2023. He's, like I said, defended it twice. I'm not sure if he's the only fighter to defend his title. Actually, no. Leon Edwards is the other one that defended his title twice, and that was against Usman and Colby Covington. It's kind of hard because I think Islam did it because of who he beat. Right, he beat Volkanovski twice. You can also go with Leon Edwards too, because he also defended his belt twice against Kamaru Usman, who's been one of the greatest welterweights of all time, and then Colby Covington as well. But for me, personally, I gotta take Islam Makhachev in this one.
I just have to say one thing. Volks, I have my hats off for Volks because number one, he's a lighter contender. He's not even in that division. He doesn't even walk at 200 pounds. Islam, these Russian guys, they drop massive weight.
Yeah.
They take a big cut to have a size advantage. I mean, it's like I feel like it's fighting someone smaller than you. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't really, I respect Volks for taking a fight because he's fighting a guy a lot bigger than him, bigger size, reach advantage. So I'm not really impressed by Islam. I mean, he's expected to win. You're literally fighting a smaller guy. You know what I mean? So, but Volks is not a 155er, and he fought a legitimate 155er. You know what I mean? 155 is I feel like Islam walks at almost 190 pounds.
Yeah, I can see that. He's pretty freaking massive for 155. I'm pretty sure he's one of the biggest, if not the biggest fighter at 155 too.
I wouldn't say biggest, but one of the biggest.
Yeah. I mean, Charles Oliveira's pretty. He got pretty big over the years at 155, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, personally, I went with Islam Makhachev, but let's keep it rolling. Female fighter of the year. Who do you got in that?
I'll let you start. I want to see
Okay.
I want to see who you selected.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of hard not to give it to Alexa Grasso for doing what she did. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about underdogs here, right? If we're gonna get Strickland, fighter of the year for doing the unthinkable and beating Israel Adesanya, I feel like you gotta go Alexa Grasso doing the unthinkable and beating Valentina Shevchenko. Not only just beating her, submitting her as well, to get the job done. And it goes out there. Granted, she didn't really defend it, but she didn't lose her title against Valentina in the rematch. It was a draw. So my hats off to Alexa Grasso. She's my female fighter of the year.
I agree with you 100%. I actually chose Alexa as well. You know, young contender. You know, obviously a lot of pressure fighting someone high caliber like her opponent. You know what I mean? So I'm a big fan of. I love striking. So what she did, it was phenomenal, and I also chose her as a fighter of the year just because of the big upset she did.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously some people did see her winning, but let's be honest. I mean, majority of the public out there thought this was just gonna be another day in the office for Valentina, and like I said, she looked phenomenal. She got the finish, and then I think she looked great in the rematch too. You know what I mean? And I think she's gonna be the flyweight title holder until maybe Aaron Blanchfield gets her shot. We'll see. I think Aaron Blanchfield is the next flyweight champ, but that's a conversation for another day. That's a
I'm
conversation.
not a big female. I'm not a big in female fighting. I mean, I watch it. I would watch it when they're on the fight card, but I'm not huge on female fighters. But I have a lot of respect. My hat goes off to them. But Valentina for me, she's one of the fighters I would watch. If there was a female fighter I would watch, it would be Valentina. Because of her kickboxing, her she has that killer instinct. Obviously she had great highlight reels. Again, I mean, I was personally surprised, how that young girl Alexa, how she managed to pull it off. You know what I mean? So, my hats off to her. I can, a lot of pressure going into a fight like that, and she managed to control her emotions and execute her game plan.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen with her next. I heard a lot of there's rumblings that Zhang Weili wants to move up and try double champ status to take on Alexa Grasso at UFC 300. I think that would be a great fight. But yeah, we'll keep it moving. All right, so I
My
think
favorite, my favorite. Let's talk about my favorite KO of the year.
yes, that's where I was gonna go with this. So, who is and what is your favorite knockout, and what's the knockout, your personal knockout of the year?
I want you to take a guess. Hold on, I'll give you a little hint. Don't keep in mind. Remember, I'm a striker, right? I love striking. I'm a big fan of strikers. So, me saying that, who you think I chose for the KO of the year?
Oh man, I mean,
Think about it. Two strikers. They're both strikers.
both strikers,
They're both excellent. They're both exciting strikers, and they fought each other numerous times.
bro.
How about
I
this? Who did you choose? Who did you choose for KO of the year?
I feel like I have to choose this, and it's a lot of people's knockout of the year just because how violent it was, and that's Josh Emmett over Bryce Mitchell. Not because of it was high level and you got the knockout, but it was absolutely vicious. Like one of the most vicious knockouts you probably will ever see fight. I've never seen anyone get knocked out that bad. Literally be convulsing on the floor from how hard he face planted. it was scary, and it went to the point where like if Emmett just followed up with hammer fist, he could have killed him, and we would have seen the first death in a UFC fight. That's how bad it was. That's why me personally, I would have to go with that because of how impactful it really was. You know what I mean? But I mean, there was a shit ton of knockouts out there. You could have gone any which way with it. So now I'm actually really intrigued to see who your knockout of the year is.
I understand. I understand that it was a vicious knockout, but I gotta put that aside just because from being a fighter, understanding the game and understanding from the ins and outs, 2 weeks notice that was a write off. It was a short notice fight. You can't give a guy 2 weeks to get ready mentally, physically, spiritually for a big fight, especially a guy of his opponent. So my KO of the year, it was because it was anticipated. It was both guys are good strikers. Both guys have personal vendetta against each other. They don't like each other, so they have a lot of history behind them, and they clashed heads. And for me, who I chose was Adesanya versus Pereira 2, because that he was losing the fight and he came back and he fucking dropped Pereira. For me, that was I would never saw that coming, and that for me was why I think there's a lot of history behind that fight, and that's why I chose that fight to be the KO of the year.
That's damn. Yeah, I mean, I like that. So you're talking about the second one where
second one when Izzy dropped him. Izzy
finished him.
Sorry about that.
No, but yeah, that makes sense if you think of it that way, right? Because I feel like a lot of people when think about knockout of the year, right, they're thinking, wow, like holy shit, like that's why a lot of people would just quickly assume the Emmett knockout would be knockout of the year. But when you look at the style of the matchup, the backstory of the matchup, and then the emphatic finish from the matchup, yeah, it's kind of hard to not take Izzy's knockout over Pereira, because that was their fourth fight or fifth fight against one another, and then Izzy finally got his revenge emphatically. He pulled him in, rope a dope against the fence, and then just finished him. That was I think a beauty.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a big fan of history. I'm a big fan of like the build up, So just everything about the fight got me very, it was very exciting. It was very dramatic. The before and after and the leading up to the fight, just the way he dropped him, and then after when he dropped him, even his kid, like there's a whole thing behind it, because in the kickboxing days, when Pereira knocked out Izzy, Pereira's kid apparently was mocking him, and then Izzy was mocking the father while the son watched his father get. Imagine your son watching you getting KO'd.
Yeah, and then you're basically talking shit to the son while he's watching his dad just lie there as they're trying to attend to him and wake him up.
100%.
That's fucking brutal. But that is arguably one of the best knockouts of the year too. I definitely agree with you. So let's think about this. What's the submission of the year? Because there's a lot of submissions. So there's so many different scenarios. There's so many great submissions. That's easy.
That was easy for me.
So what's your submission of the year?
For male?
Yeah, I'll go on male.
I would say John Jones.
Really?
John Jones going to heavyweight, and just the way he submitted Cyril Gane, that was crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like you said, that's why I like this, because you're thinking from a fighter's perspective. I'm thinking about like from a different perspective, somebody just watching fights, right? That talks about it. Well, you like the backstory, you like the way he went up.
More of entertainment, which I understand.
Right.
I get it.
Exactly.
But this is what makes a fun conversation. This is why having different perspectives. I'm looking more of as as John Jones moving up to heavyweight, fighting a guy like fighting a big heavyweight dude like Mr. Game, and the way he just made him, he just ragdolled him. He just
Yeah.
controlled the fight. First round, choking him out, which I found I did not expect that to happen.
Yeah, that was impressive. Oh well, I mean, granted, I was very heavily invested in John Jones. I kind of figured that he would do that, but not as like effortless as he made it. You know what I mean? I had a lot of money riding on John Jones, and I kind of knew he was going to be too much for someone like Cyril Gane, who's never fought anybody like John Jones before. But that's neither here nor there. So my submission of the year, just because it's a submission that's very rare. There's only so many of them in the UFC. I think there's only 4 or 5 ever done in UFC, and I'm going to go with Damon Blackshear's twister submission over Jose Johnson. I just think it was crazy. I mean, it's just something, like I said, rare submission, and he made it look like it was absolutely effortless, and it's something like he's done it before. And when he got that done, I thought that was fucking impressive. You know what I mean? That's very impressive too. And when anybody gets that done, I think it's just insane. When they pull off those insane submissions that you never see coming. So yeah, for me, I'm gonna go with the twister submission, the only twister submission in the UFC this year, with Damon Blackshear over Jose Johnson. That's my personal opinion, because, like I said, I'm looking at the entertainment side of things that you normally don't see, the rare submissions, the things that are cool, and I think that's one of them.
I agree with you. I mean, pulling off a submission like that, it is very hard. You know what I mean? So it's not mostly about. It's not for me, anyways. It's not. It's not just about the submission itself. It's just, what I mean, moving up a weight class. And a guy like Cyril. I mean, the guy. He was a good striker. Very light on his feet. Moves very light for heavyweight. I was expecting him to try to keep John Jones at a distance, at a striking distance, and try to be like a karate point sparring game where he's in and out and so he makes sure, John Jones, obviously, coming from a Muay Thai wrestling background, John Jones wanted to close the distance, and just the way he did it, I guess it shows how dominant he is.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just the way he did it for me was more like, I can't believe he just did that to a guy like him.
Yeah, and like I said, just he did it within a minute, 2 minutes tops. It was just, as soon as he got a hold of him, took him down, and that was all she wrote.
That's impressive.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Especially going up. It's not just like you're going up a weight class, right? You're going up the weight class, because going from light heavyweight to heavyweight is such a massive step up than any other weight class, because you're going from 207 to 265. You know what I mean? So the way that he was able to go up to that weight class and dominate in the fashion that he did was highly impressive.
I agree with you.
So who's your female submission of the year?
I would go with Alexa, just because she submitted Valentina. That's very hard to do. She took down just that girl in particular. I would say, just because of her age and her experience in fighting someone like Valentina, and getting that upset and then submitting her. For me, that's why I chose her for submission of the year.
I mean, is there any other answer? Like, let's be honest. Is there any other submission of the year, any female submission of the year, that should be worthy? I don't think so. I mean, the way she did what she did, and technically she was losing that fight, in my opinion. And the way she was able to capitalize off a missed kick like that, take her back, and then sinking it wasn't even a rear naked choke, it was a face crank. And it was so tight that she made someone like Valentina Shevchenko tap to a face crank. So that was extremely impressive. So impressive. And I don't think any female submission will ever triumph that. Like, Arguably, probably, I don't know. There are some out there, but like recently that I could think of, I don't think any other of them will really triumph that submission
I
because of
agree
who
with
was it against.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
All right.
Big upset.
Oh yeah. I mean, if we go upset of the year, that would, to me, would have to be it. Is that your upset of the year?
Exactly.
Okay, so I know we didn't really think about this one, right? But if you had to choose your upset of the year, what would it be?
Like from male and females or just females?
Just all together.
Upset of the year. I would honestly, it would be hard for me, but I would just say Sean Strickland's fight versus Izzy because it was really weird just the way he won that fight. I would have never expect that to happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean,
you know what I'm
I'm
trying
I'm
to
the
say?
same boat. Yeah, I'm the same
But
boat.
also, I'm like I said, I'm not a big. I don't follow religiously female fighting, so I'm more catered to watching the guys fight, the male fighters, and just because I know Izzy, I know how he fights. You know, he fought he fought big guys, like he fought tough opponents. You know what I mean? And then the way how Sean Strickland kind of walked him down awkwardly and one took the title from him in Australia. That's for me is like that's why I would consider an upset.
Yeah, I mean all the details surrounding that fight, right? And the way Izzy, the way he's masterful on the feet, and for Sean Strickland to completely shut that down was insane. He kept walking forward, and then Izzy couldn't do anything. Like nothing phased Sean. Like even if he would land a strike, Sean would just walk right through it. Nothing phased him at all. The leg kicks did absolutely nothing to him. It was it was a great performance, and he was in the space. And obviously, That's definitely the male upset of the year. I feel like there's no other big upset that comes to mind that's really going to triumph that, right? My female obviously would be Alexa Grasso. I mean, she's won majority of the awards in terms of females for us. Male upset of the year has to be Strickland. I feel like female upset of the year has to be Alexa Grasso too.
We can't forget. We can't. Yeah, I totally agree with you. We can't forget female KO, which I actually I chose. I was watching the fight Sterling, and I was debating. There's a lot of good knockouts for the female fighters, but I actually chose from PFL. It was a nice head kick KO from an underdog, Amber Lebrock versus she fought versus I'm probably gonna say her name wrong, but she fought Amber Lebrock. She's a U.S. fighter. She fought versus uh, Jean Jean Drova.
Jen
Jen,
Jandiroba.
I think so. Jen, yeah, I don't know if I'm not pronouncing it right, but
Yeah,
Jen
it's yeah, I think it's just Jandiroba. Damn,
yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that was a nasty knockout.
that was a nice head kick. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's really hard to pull that off, and she pulled it off. She's nice head kick. KO in the PFL prelims, and I actually chose that one for the female fighters.
Do you know it's another good knockout of the year that I think a lot of people aren't talking about? Um, damn, I forgot his name. I can't even say it because I forgot. He used to be Lorenz Larkin. Okay, Lorenz Larkin's elbow knockout in Bellator. Whoa.
I don't remember that fight.
Oh man, it was brutal. It was in close. They were in the clinch. And either just nasty elbow in the clinch. The guy just had wobbly legs and then face plant right after that. It was beautiful. It was nasty, nasty.
Oh man, there's a lot of different types of. It's very hard to select. You know what I mean? Like
Just one, yeah,
once you really think about it, there's for a whole year you
yeah.
got crazy fights. You know what I mean? Crazy knockouts, crazy submissions. But
Hmm.
we got to kind of try to simplify and try to
Right.
select the so make it easy for people.
If you had to choose, who would you think would be your male breakout fighter of the year.
Breakout.
Yeah. Someone that just kind of just for you just did a lot of work, made a name for himself over the year in 2023.
That's a tough that's a good answer. That's a good question, and I have a tough answer. That's what I meant to say. Good question, tough answer. I mean, the breakout of the year. I don't know. That's interesting.
Like who just like for you just kind of like wow, they had a good year. You know what I mean? Like who just for you came out of the blue and put together some good wins, quality wins, and kind of made a name for themselves this year.
Yeah, that's a good question. I really don't know. Would you have anyone in mind?
For me, it would be Patchy Mix. I
Who?
think Patchy Mix. He's the
Heard of him?
Bellator's bantamweight champion. I
I,
thought he was phenomenal this year. You know what I mean? He went in there, he won the Bellator's Grand Prix by knocking out Rafion Stotts with a nasty step in knee. It was
oh yes,
beautiful.
yes, yes, yes.
And
Actually,
then,
Rafion. Actually, I worked out. I trained with Rafion Sluts in back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, when I was under the umbrella. I was under Rufus Sports.
oh yeah,
I trained over there with Rafion. Rafion is a good kid,
he is.
good kid. You know what I mean. Came to Bellator. You know what I mean. He has, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that fight. Yeah, that was a good. I mean, that was a big upset,
It was.
but yeah, that was a good. Yeah, that was a good fight. I mean, that's the name of the game. It doesn't take much to get. Doesn't take one little mistake. You know what I mean?
But then he also did one better, and he unified the Bellator bantamweight title by submitting Sergio Pettis and becoming the undisputed bantamweight champ. I feel like he really put his name on the map with those two big wins in 2023 because a lot of people
He,
maybe not knew about him, but now, I
yeah,
mean, now everybody knows who Patrick Nix is.
100%. I agree with you. I trained with Rafion. He's a stud. I also trained with Sergio Pettis. They're both tough, good fighters, great fighters, both studs. You know what I mean? And yeah, and he pulled it off. 100%. I agree with you.
Yeah, he's definitely someone I wish he was in the UFC, honestly. I really do. He would be a great addition to the bantamweight division. I think he'd be top five in the bantamweight division if he was able to, be signed. But neither here
Bantamweight
nor there.
is 135, right?
Yeah, 135.
Since we're talking about bantamweights, what's your take on the next bantamweight, Mr. Clown versus? I'm just fucking around. What's your take?
Cheeto
What's your
and Sean
take on?
O'Malley.
What's your take about Sean O'Malley? How you find him as a fighter? I watched the
I
press conference and Strickland gave it to him. I was laughing. Did you see the press conference for that fight?
I I didn't get to. I watched like the highlights of it. I didn't get to watch the entire thing, but
It
I
was so funny.
knew. I mean, I have nothing against Sean, but I mean, Sean O'Malley, that is. He's I don't think. I mean, he markets himself well to the younger generation, right? And
But what is that? But what does that tell you? That's a sad generation. I mean, he's a fucking clown. He smokes. He promotes marijuana.
yeah, it does.
I'm like, how is this guy? I was shocked, honestly. Like I actually trained at the lab for because I wanted to. I was always a big fan of Ben Henderson, so I kind of like wanted. Let me go to the lab. That's what got me to Arizona. I had an opportunity to train with Ben to see how he would train. Hardworking guy, a family man. I have a lot of respect for Ben Henderson, but watching Sean O'Malley, he would come to the gym. He would be like very awkward. He would just like do his own little thing. His trainer would come and he got like I don't know. He had his own little entourage, and he would come to the lab and just like the way they would treat him very special. You know what I mean? But I'm not taking anything away from him as a fighter. But let's get real. Like bantamweight. I mean, what the you can't how you take that weight class serious? They're like a bunch of mosquitoes. I know you're not gonna. I know you're not going to. I know you respect all weight classes, but I'm just saying like that's not. I mean, I don't even know how he became a champion. To be honest with you, like I was very surprised. But fighting his next opponent. What's his name again? He's fighting. What's that guy's name?
Marlon Vera, Cheeto
Cheeto.
Vera.
Yes, fighting Cheeto. I mean, I hope Cheeto really puts him back in his place because I feel like he needs to get grounded. I think the money and the fame got to his head a little bit, and at the press conference, it was just funny because Strickland was just going off at him, just talking about his wife and how he's like this fucking dude's letting other guys fuck his wife. I was just I was just like fucking laughing. He's like they're making jokes like Sean O'Malley, like fucking weird, just like weird shit that he's into, So I'm not really for that. So I'm a big so I'm hoping Cheeto would whip his ass.
Oh man, I think O'Malley's a good fighter. I don't think Cheeto's the one to take O'Malley off his pedestal. I think O'Malley's gotten better since their first encounter where he lost with those leg kicks. And I think O'Malley's probably going to give Cheeto a ton of it's going to be a hard fight for Cheeto if he keeps this at distance. I think O'Malley's longer. He's quicker. He's got more tools. He's gonna be able to stay on the outside and just pick him apart that way. And we know that Cheeto's notoriously a extremely slow starter. So I don't know if he's gonna somehow pick up the pace in the early goings of this fight, or he's gonna drop the first 3 rounds by just literally walking forward and doing absolutely nothing. I feel like that's gonna be the fight. I don't think either one of these two are gonna get hurt. I feel like Chio's gonna do what he normally does, and he's gonna walk forward for the first 3 rounds, throw a couple of good shots, but then just get jabbed and leg kicked for 15 minutes until Cheeto really makes it to that next gear, which she normally does in the championship rounds. And then we might get a better fight, but he's going to be already down 3 rounds at that point. And I think O'Malley probably just edges him out on the scorecards 3-2 or 4-1 to retain the title. I don't think it's going to be as exciting as people want it to be, unfortunately, because I think both of them have the chins, and I don't think either one of them is going to get a knockout. Cheeto's got a great chin on him. He can go full 25 minutes. It's just up to Cheeto if he's actually going to push the pace and really fight early for the first time. I don't know, but ultimately, I think O'Malley gets the job done. The fighter that I know who's going to take that belt eventually is going to be Umar Nurmagomedov. I think he's going to be the bantamweight champion if he's able to be active this year. If he fights twice early, or maybe just at least once early 2024, by the end of the year, he's taking that belt. Me personally. That's why I would see.
Why is it because of his last name?
No, I just think he's. Well, I mean, granted, yes, he comes from a great tutelage over there, right? He trains with all those Russian behemoths, but
animals.
right. I mean, I just see his game is great. I mean, he can strike with the best. He can out grapple the best. I think he's just got the all around skill set. He's
The question is the UFC gonna allow that to happen? Because let's keep it real. Sean O'Malley is the cash cow right now for the UFC.
That is true. It really comes down to how fast are they going to push Umar? Because if Umar wins, you can't deny him, right? You just can't deny him. So I mean, how fast are they going to push him? He's got to get a top 5 to 7 fighter next because of his body of work and what he's been able to do, and obviously his last name is going to warrant that type of fight. But are they going to push him fast? You know what I mean? Because I definitely think he beats O'Malley, definitely 100%. Because I just think he's got the better grappling. I think he's got better grappling than Sterling does. I know Sterling's a great wrestler and he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, but it's different. We already know it's different when those Dagestani wrestlers are going in there versus an NCAA Division II type wrestler. It's different. the way they go in there and the grapple is a lot different, and I think Nurmagomedov is going to be the champ at one point. But talking about Sterling, now he's moving up to 145, and if you didn't hear, he's now facing off against wow, why do I draw a blank when I'm trying to think of things? Calvin Kattar, there you go. He's facing off against Calvin Kattar in this first fight in the featherweight division. How do you see that fight going?
Actually, that's a good question. That's gonna be an interesting fight because just to see how he would just have like that weight class changing, the training regimen, the diet, all that stuff, all these little factors that come into effect. You know what I mean? So, but moving up the weight class, I mean, that should make him a lot more powerful and stronger.
Right. Do you think he'll be able to just manhandle someone who's basically his size at 145 pounds, like Calvin Kattar?
I don't know about manhandling. I mean, I really don't know, but it's hard to tell because it's individual. It depends on. I'm not sure about how I never felt him out. I never trained with the guy, so I wouldn't really know. But I mean, I wouldn't know about manhandling. I mean, unless he's a big 145er and his training, and for somehow he changes his whole training regimen. He starts doing a lot of like strength work, a lot of power lifting, a lot of different types of explosive training, a lot of ballistic training. You know what I mean? Where it's like you look at like those wrestling Russian guys. They why they dominate is because of their religious the way they're dedicated to how they train. It's a constant grind. Obviously they have something good going on over there in Russia. You look at the Olympic wrestlers. You look at just in general in Olympic sports. Usually Russian is very dominant. But the reason why I'm saying all that is because it all depends on his training regimen. It all comes down to basically how he trains, who is he training with, who's his coaches, who's his training partners. That for me ultimately is what I kind of look at.
I got you. I got you. I just want to pick your brain a little bit there because Aljamain was basically manhandling majority of the bantamweights, other than Sean O'Malley when he fought there, because he was just bigger, more powerful, more and stronger than everybody, because he was massive for 135. Still to this day, don't know how he's ever made that weight class, but he did. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he goes, in the 145-pound division, especially against someone like Calvin Kattar, who's an exceptional striker and has shown to have good takedown defense. So I don't know if the size of Calvin Kattar is going to make it, difficult for him to take him down, because he wasn't able to take down Sean O'Malley. And that was a very surprising part. Very surprised he was not able to take down Sean O'Malley and then got dead in that second round when he tried to do so.
Yes, I agree with you. I was a little bit, yeah, it was really strange. But also, did he was really committed for a takedown? I think it was more of a automatic pilot. You have to understand something. Sometimes you train a certain way, and then once you're in that octagon, everything is autopilot. You're not really thinking. You're just kind of reacting. And if you really saw the way he fought Sean, he was very hesitant. He did not fight him like you watch his old fights. You look at his previous fights. He wasn't as confident for some weird reason. I'm not sure if it was the hype or maybe Sean got into his head. That whole psychological warfare, it actually, it actually works. There's a reason why they say, the art of war. Like that's psychologically, that's mentally is it's a big part. I mean, if you're mentally beaten, if you have any doubt in your head going into a fight, that's gonna be tremendous. That's gonna show tremendously on the fight night.
Yeah, and it actually did show, because, like you said, he didn't look like he was confident on his takedown attempts. Like, he didn't follow through. They were kind of like half-assed. And once
Yeah.
Sean kind of gave him just a little bit of a pushback, he just kind of gave up on the whole position itself. And it was just weird. It was very, very odd. And
You
I don't
remember
know.
when Conor McGregor fought Jose Aldo the first time when when you knocked him out with the KO? Did you see how angry Jose Aldo fought Conor
Yeah.
because of the
Yep.
psychological buildup?
Yep.
Sean O'Malley, he gets to people's heads. Like if you look at the buildup, and if you really look at it, he kind of did the same thing. He made a mistake. When I teach people fighting, when I'm coaching or when I'm showing a technique, one-on-one basics of striking is you don't want to overcommit to a strike because you don't want to get countered. And if you watch that fight, Jose Aldo, how he overreached, he overcommitted,
Yep.
and he got countered.
Yep.
Same thing with Sean O'Malley's fight. He overcommitted. His chin was right there, and he walked right into the right
It
hand.
was so crazy because it looked like it was in slow motion without it being in slow motion. Because he kind of like he got frozen. He missed and then he just stuck there and his chin was just right there. It was
Yes,
crazy.
that was that biggest that's like for me personally, that's like a rookie mistake.
Yeah, it really was. It was just crazy because like I said,
And
you
that's
see it.
because and that's because that's the reason why I'm trying to say psychological warfare. Sean got into his head.
Yeah, I could see that. I definitely think that happened because there was a lot of build up between those two leading up to that fight, and it was a long time coming. Like it wasn't just like at the press conference or just talking shit. No, I mean it was months and months and months of those two going back and forth, and must have been mentally draining by the time it was time for them to get locked in there, and it might have threw him off his game.
100%.
And it's crazy because now we have Sean O'Malley as the bantamweight champion, and he's trying to defend himself for the first time down here in Miami in March against Cheeto Vera. So that's gonna be an interesting fight.
You have to get us tickets so we can go there.
I mean, I'll try my best. I mean, I know those tickets are gonna be astronomical in price. At least I would say at least $500 just for per ticket for the nosebleed seats. Easy.
I mean, I mean, UFC is very cheap. They don't give away tickets too easily.
No, they definitely don't. Definitely. Not even to like their own like fighters. They
No,
hardly
man.
get tickets
I've
away.
been in UFC for 13 years and they never threw a bone at me.
No. Okay. I think he just cut out for a bit. We'll give him some time to get back in here and join us. But appreciate everybody showing up, watching, and talking with us for this episode of the Dark Side of MMA. I think John will be back here momentarily. We will be doing these podcasts each and every week, every single week. But hey, he's back. All right. I
I
think you just.
apologize. I apologize. I gotta put my it's crazy. I gotta put my phone maybe in air mode, maybe, so I don't get interrupted. It's always every time we're doing the podcast, I always seem to get interrupted by phone calls.
Phone call? Yeah, you just have to try to put it on like no disturb or something like that. On I don't know how iPhones work. I
I
don't.
apologize.
No
I
worries.
apologize
No, you're
for
good.
that. But let's.
You're
I
good.
was gonna say let's wrap it off with let's say big things are gonna happen in 2024 for sure. I mean, I'm excited for myself. I'm still waiting for news. I don't know when I'm gonna fight next. But I also I want to give a good quick shout out. You know what I mean? I'm very excited because I was like being a fighter, training and going to different training camps. It was very stressful for me because having that good connection. It's a business, right? At the end of the day, fighters are disposable. Fighters are just a number. You go into a camp. If you don't have that bond with the head, with the owner of the gym, if you don't have that bond with the head trainer, that hardcore connection, it's gonna be hard. You're gonna get thrown in the mix. So I struggled myself with going to different camps, trying to find a good click. I'm trying to say, but that's why I kind of developed a website. John Makdessi, www.johnmakdessi.com, where any average guy can go in there. I have a whole plan where it's like I give the from A to Z guys who just want to train like a pro, or guys who want to become a pro, or even get to UFC level. where I kind of developed a training package where I train them remotely, so they can be anywhere worldwide. You know what I mean? And that's something I've been excited to announce that I've been working on. You go to my website. I have where I also have a subscription where subscription based training package based where I send videos out. You know, educate, coaching, mentorship, just everything that I learned throughout my fighting career, putting it in a nutshell for the individual. It's also individualized. You know, it's personalized. Something also where I had something that I struggled in my fighting career because you're in a room of 100 fighters, 50 fighters, 20 fighters. The coach doesn't have time to give one-on-one attention, you know. So, and of course, obviously my bullwear, you know, pushing out my merch, John Makdessi, Taurus lifestyle, the bull. You know, if you're an astrology person, if you like astrology, I love astrology, and you know, tourism is all about determination, perseverance, never giving up. So I just wanted to kind of put it out there.
All right, man. I appreciate that. I think that's awesome that you're doing that on your website because I feel like there's a lot of people would love your insight into the fight game and just trying to better their lives, get into shape, right? Just like you do, and and no one's better than you to really help guide them in that sense. I mean, I know I've been struggling with trying to get into shape and having that motivation myself, with kids and working a lot. So, things like that. And, someone like you could definitely help a Joe Schmo like me, get into shape and, be healthy.
Well, think about it. I think about how many guys who are offering that, professional athletes who are actually offering a platform where, because here's the thing, when COVID hit, it was, you know, training one on one, going into a gym. Yes, obviously, ultimately, that's also, you know, that's ideal. But now with technology and the phones and all this, it's like, I'm like, how can I turn my passion into a business where it's online and I can cater to the world where, like, for example, you can be at home, you know what I mean? And you'd be like, hey, John, teach me how to throw a jab, teach me how to throw a kick. How do I get good condition, you know, being at home? You know what I mean? And that's another thing. People don't tell you all these little secrets, but it's all about little secrets. It's all about the tips, little tricks that fighters develop throughout the years. Because ultimately, you know what I mean, it doesn't take much. You know what I mean? It just takes good coaching, a good guidance. And that's why I kind of developed this platform where I'm catering to the people where it's like, how can I give them what I lacked, something where I struggled with, something that I had to go out there, jump on an airplane, go to different camps, train with, you know, GSP, Anthony Pettis, Ben Henderson. You know, I train with high level guys. All this knowledge now it's in me, so now it's like I'm trying to give that back to the public.
I love it, man. I really do. I'm probably gonna take you up on that too, because I would love to, pick your brain and do all that, bro. I would love it.
Yeah, man.
I I think it would be great for, you know, for me myself, and then for any other person that really just wants to get in shape and learn from a professional like yourself. So I think that's great, and I know you're trying to help, people like me to do better in their lives, and I think that's going to help. And plus, on top of it, it's a mental thing too, right? You help them mentally, physically, emotionally with your workouts and what you're going to be able to show them through your website and through you helping them personally.
100%. I agree with you 100%. And that's ultimately that's why I kind of decided to go into that you know that realm and like getting into the website and try to promote myself as a good, you know, as a trainer, mentor slash coach. You know what I mean? If it's, hey John, I'm lacking motivation, like what help me, you know, all these little things like motivation, discipline, like how can I work out? Like you said, you know, you have a 9 to 5 job. I got a family. Where I don't have time to go to a gym. I don't want to go subscribe to a monthly gym. Where I kind of guide you through my videos and through one-on-one interaction in a weekly basis. And I also give you, you know, home-based full workout, full body workouts at your own house, where you can get that done in 20, 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Dedicate yourself 20, 30 minutes having a plan. Having a plan is better to have no plan, and a lot of people are misguided, you know what I mean? So that's why I kind of created this website, you know, to help to help the public, and also most importantly, to do something that I'm passionate about and that I believe in, because that's more important than anything else. Is I have to believe in it and I have to be passionate about, just like our podcast, just like everything I do. You know what I mean? I have to do it 100%. I'm either all in or all out.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on here each and every week. Talking about all things MMA, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the dark side of MMA. That's what we're here for. We bring to you the good side, also the bad side, and things you might not know, because that's why John is here, to bring us, the backstory into things that we will never know about, because he knows it personally. And we're gonna be here every single week. I want you guys to please go to our Kick platform. It's kick.com/darksideMMA. Subscribe, follow us there. Then you can subscribe to us later. Help us out. We're trying to grow this podcast. We want you guys to, know the ins and outs of MMA world. We'll get maybe some fighters lined up to come on to the show with us next year to, just to chat with us. We're definitely going to get into predictions and bets as well. We're going to do some probably some live watch shows together for some of these fight nights, maybe some pay-per-views. But we're looking to do a ton of content for 2024 and really get this podcast moving, as well as get John's name out there, help him get a fight. We'll show some behind-the-scenes stuff with him when he's gearing up for his fight, and and for him to help make you guys, in better shape, spiritually, mentally, and physically, through his website and helping you guys out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to 2024. I hope you are too. New Year's is right around the corner, so I hope everyone has a blessed New Year. Stay safe, and I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching with us. I appreciate you, John, for joining this year with me, and I look forward to 2024.
Same here, brother. I appreciate you.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. We are out of here.